Hi everybody, it's Jeff from Close to Home here with the August Make Yourself a Home Block of the Month. We are on the edge of the shop hop, which begins September 1st, and there's a lot of things going on as we head into the fall here. We've got a bunch of events going on. We got a Serger event at the beginning of October. Seth Apter, the mixed media artist and fabric designer, will be coming in and doing a workshop at the beginning of October as well, and he's got a new line that'll be getting soon. And we're also starting the mystery quilt. If you were part of that last year, we're doing a new mystery quilt. That's starting September 1st. So we're really excited here with all the events happening. I hope we see it and you're out there shop hopping, having fun. But today let's start with our block of the month, and that is Wyoming Valley. Here we have Wyoming Valley. This is another block by Nancy Cabot. She was the same person who designed last month's Missouri Star block. She was a writer for the Chicago Tribune. And I really like this one. It's got some similar elements to a couple of the other blocks, but we got that square and a square, the usual half square triangles, and we're going to add in some parallelograms into. So let's get to it. Here are the patches that you'll need for this month's block. From the tourmaline fabric, you're going to cut one 4.5 by 4.5 inch square, two 3 by 3 inch squares, and 8 2.5 by 2.5 inch squares. From the accent color, which is my orange, you're going to cut 12 2.5 by 2.5 inch squares, 4 3 by 3 inch squares, and then from the background, which is my black, you're going to cut 6 3 by 3 inch squares, 4 2.5 by 2.5 inch squares, and 8 4.5 by 2.5 inch rectangles. We're going to start by doing those good old half square triangles like we usually do. So take your 6 3 by 3 inch background squares, and you're going to mark a line from corner to corner. You're going to pair 4 of those with 4 of the accent 3 by 3 inch squares, and the other 2 you're going to pair with the 2 tourmaline 3 by 3 inch squares. And we're going to do just as like we've done before. You're going to sew a 1/4 inch on either side of the line, cut on the line, and then you're going to iron toward the background triangle or open, and then just trim those all down to 2.5 inch squares. So in the end, you'll have 8 of the accent color, my orange, and the background color, and you'll have 4 of the units that have the tourmaline and the background color. We're going to take those half square triangle sets and we're going to combine them with the 2.5 inch accent square to make some corner units. So each corner unit is going to be a 2.5 inch accent square, 2 of the background / accent half square triangle sets, and 1 of the background / tourmaline sets that shows on the screen. You're going to align them just like shown on the screen. You're going to sew the rows together and then sew those columns together, and in all you're going to make 4 of these corner units. Now we're going to make our center. So you're going to start with the 4 2.5 inch background squares, and you're going to mark a diagonal line from corner to corner on the back of the fabric. Then you're going to place 2 of those squares on opposite corners of your 4.5 inch tourmaline square, just as shown. So on the marked line, then you'll trim those corners to leave a 1/4 inch seam, ironing toward the background fabric or open. And then you're going to repeat that step with the 2 background squares on the remaining corners, as shown here. And then you're going to iron those in the same way until you're left with your square in a square center. Now we're going to make some parallelogram units here. We're just going to use that same stitch and flip method. So we'll start by taking the 8 2.5 inch tourmaline squares and 8 of your 2.5 inch accent squares. And you're going to mark a diagonal line from corner to corner on the back. Then you're going to place 1 of the accent squares on top of your background, just as shown. And you're going to do it just as shown on the top and the bottom. Notice that those are in different directions. We're going to be making 4 units of each type of these opposite parallelogram units. So you're going to place those just like that for 4 of your units. Then you're going to Sew on the line, cut to trim a 1/4 inch seam, iron toward that triangle, and repeat just as shown on the screen with your tourmaline squares. So basically those are going to look the same way, and you will be left, once you cut and iron those tourmalines open, with 4 and 4 of those opposite parallelogram units. Now you'll combine each pair of parallelograms just as shown, and you'll be left kind of with this chevron looking unit here, and you will repeat to make 4 of these units. Then it's all about putting it together. We're going to 9 patch it all together. So you're going to assemble those units just as shown with our 4 corner units, our 4 chevron units, and our center square and a square. You will sew those rows together. Then you're going to sew those columns together, and you're left with this lovely Wyoming Valley block. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun playing with the colors. I put a lot more of the tourmaline colors in this one, and I really like how it came out. We'll see you in September 27th for the next block, and I hope you have a great shop hop.